Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
Haiti's president refuses to resign amid street protests and opposition calls for him to be indicted on corruption charges. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Wednesday, June 12th. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Dawn Paris. Good evening. Haiti's President Jovenel Moïse is adamant he will not bow to protester demands that he resign, even amid allegations of embezzlement of funds linked to the Petro-Caribe oil initiative. And even as he stands firm, lawmakers have added a call for him to be indicted. Thousands of protesters have taken to the streets since Sunday demanding Moïse's resignation, but one of the president's spokespersons says he had done everything to ensure the investigation into the spending of Petro-Caribe funds and he will not be stepping down. But the embattled president is also facing the wrath of opposition lawmakers. 21 members of the Chamber of Deputies, which is the lower house in the National Assembly in Haiti, presented a letter to the president of the chamber, Gary Boudreaux, on Tuesday, urging him to officially accuse Moïse of corruption, funds misappropriation, and repeated violations of the Constitution. They've asked for a special sitting to fix a date for the session of indictment and say unless that is done, they will oppose the holding of any other session. The deputies' call is based on a May 31st 600-page report by the Superior Court of Auditors, which outlined how President Moïse mishandled Petro-Caribe funds meant for social and development projects in Haiti. The report described as serious the ways in which the government has illicitly spent more than $2 billion of Petro-Caribe funds. In addition to calling for Moïse to face corruption charges, the lawmakers renewed the call made on February 20th for an indictment against him for acts constituting crime of high treason. Additionally, they demand that he be judged before an ordinary court after being dismissed from office. Under the Haiti Constitution, the votes of at least 2/3 of the 118-member Chamber of Deputies are needed to indict the head of state. Trinidad and Tobago's Attorney General is reporting that migrants to the Twin Island Republic, including Venezuelans, are contributing to a rise in crime. Faris Al-Rawi made the disclosure to Parliament on Tuesday, but he said it's not only Venezuelans who are responsible for this increase. We get more from CNC3's Jesse Ramdale.
In seeking to manage a Venezuelan migration challenge, the country has now inherited another problem. While piloting debate on the bail amendment bill in the Senate on Tuesday, Attorney General Faris Al-Rawi reveals there was a correlation between a spike in crime and migrants. It's the first such admission from the government.
It is a fact, having spoken with the Commissioner of Police today, that we have had a serious uptick in certain of the crimes as a result of some of the immigrant issues.
The Attorney General's comment comes just days after the murder of 29-year-old Venezuelan national Evelyn Rojas, allegedly at the hands of a Venezuelan man. Recent drug-related killings and the arrest of a Venezuelan gang leader in Point Fortin have also led to speculation that an increase in bloodshed was on the horizon. But according to the Attorney General, it is no longer speculation.
The numbers of murders have been noticed to have risen as a result of some of our migration issues. I'm not talking only about Venezuela, I'm talking about other positions.
But just a day before the AG's revelation, National Security Minister Stuart Young said migrants, particularly Venezuelans, were not a major contributor to crime.
The Venezuelans are not the major cause of crime in Trinidad and Tobago, and what I can say, what we're doing to deal with it is, as I said this morning, we started off with a meeting with the heads of security, and one of the issues that we dealt with is how to deal with the continued suggestion that the Venezuelans are the source of all crime.
Crime has been one of the main topics among the public following government's announcement of its amnesty program, given this country's rising murder tolls over the years.
In other news out of Trinidad and Tobago, the government has caved into pressure and made further changes to controversial amendments proposed to the Freedom of Information Act. The announcement by the Attorney General on Tuesday came on the heels of the opposition United National Congress threatening to take legal action over the amendments and the outcry from more than 30 groups, including NGOs, business chambers and the Law Association. Al-Rawi says he accepts the government should have offered more information on the need to amend Clause 7 of the legislation that would allow for, among other measures, an increase in the time state entities are required to provide information requested under the Freedom of Information Act.
Argument came out commendably that the government should discuss this matter. I accept that the government should have provided information. I accept that I certainly misunderstood the effect that this would have, because perhaps I was too close to the numbers. When I see bare minimal statistics of refusals, less than 1% refusals on average, and when I notice the severity of costs, perhaps I underestimated that the state could easily have persuaded a parliament on the floor once this data was put forward. So let's accept that. It was for that reason that we pressed pause to allow this information to come.
The Attorney General then confirmed that changes regarding the time frame for providing information under the legislation would be further adjusted.
The bill went from 30 days to 90 days additional. So that would have taken it to 120 days, 4 months. It also gave the Attorney General a 3-month period to consider the position. And the argument came that that period is too long. The government has listened to that argument. The government thinks that insofar as there is merit that the period may be too long, that we ought to adjust the time period. And what we have done, and which we circulated to the opposition last night, and the Parliament has disseminated by email to all members of Parliament, is that we have sought to provide a 2-week extension, effectively, beyond the 30 days. So the public authority under Section 15 will move by our proposal, should it be accepted. We're proposing that it move from 30 days to 45 days.
The new amendments, which government only needs a simple majority to pass, are scheduled to be debated in Parliament on Friday. A payday is coming for life insurance policyholders of failed CLICO Barbados. Just over $400 million in cash and bonds will be paid to them by Resolution Life, the company which took over CLICO's portfolio but is now winding up its operations. We get the details in this CBC News report.
Resolution Life took over the portfolio previously held by failed insurance giant CLICO International Life Insurance Limited just over a year ago. But back in March, in her budget speech, Prime Minister Mia Amor Motley announced that the entity would be liquidated by the Financial Services Commission, and policyholders would each receive a maximum cash payment of $20,000. CEO Cheryl Senhouse says their primary objective is just that, to get the policyholders what is due to them and end their painful wait. She says they're using the consultation meetings to explain the payment plans.
Quite a few of our policyholders will receive a cash payment up to $20,000, depending on the net value of their policy, and any amounts over that will be paid in bonds. So there should be a significant infusion of cash into the economy once persons receive their cash payment initially, and then are able to access the funds from the bonds when they start the payments around September of this year.
According to her, they have also used the time to reassure clients that insurance is still a very good instrument.
A lot of people feel disgruntled and aggrieved with what has transpired, but we hope that bringing a final resolution to this situation will help restore some confidence, not just in the insurance industry, but in the regulators and in the ability of the economy overall to withstand pressures and failures from businesses.
Policyholders also shared how they felt, with several expressing that they have some measure of closure.
I am absolutely delighted that I have a process to follow, and that I understand that at the end of September I'll be receiving payments on my EFPA.
I was praying that it would come because after all I'd paid my money into the system, so I expected it back.
I reckon it's time enough that things should be in order. Now, the poor people suffering, and it's time enough now that we should get some type of funds.
ResLife is hoping to wrap up operations by September.
Still to come, Dominica off the EU blacklist of tax havens. Stay with us.
Welcome to this year's 50th Caribbean Broadcast Union Assembly on the island of San Andres. San Andres is a small archipelago located in between Jamaica and Panama in the Western Caribbean Sea. A lush, exotic island rich in culture, history, gastronomy, and breathtaking scenic views. Known for its beaches and 7-colored crystalline waters, the island of San Andres will be proudly hosting this year's event. CBU members will enjoy top-of-the-line accommodations for an unforgettable experience in San Andres, connecting Caribbean nations through this year's 50th edition of the CBU Assembly.
Dominica has welcomed the decision by the European Union to finally remove it from its list of non-cooperative tax jurisdictions. The island was blacklisted in March, but the government's legal advisor, Senior Counsel Anthony Astefan, says the Roosevelt's Carrot-led administration had done all that was required to be removed from the list, and he says Dominica is now on the white list. Astefan added that the island's removal from the blacklist proved the government was being honest when it complained about Dominica's inclusion in the first place.
All that I know is that the decision of the European Union now to remove it from the blacklisting is 100% consistent with what representatives of the government and the Prime Minister and the Minister said should have been the result in the first place. Others in our country, as I said again, for cheap political points, try to discredit the government without listening, appreciating, and understanding what the true facts were, notwithstanding that they were in the parliament. And all that I can say and repeat is that the government has been vindicated and justice has been served by the decision of the European Union.
Cuba's loss could be Cayman Islands' gain following U.S. President Donald Trump's decision to ban cruise ships from traveling to the Spanish-speaking island. The move announced last week put an abrupt end to the Cuban cruise industry, but the knock-on effect is likely to mean more cruise ships diverting to the Cayman Islands. We get more in this Cayman 27 news report.
Port Authority Director Joseph Wood says so far Cayman has received 27 additional calls from one line over the next 2 years. He tells Cayman 27 a second line cancelled 23 calls to Cuba and rescheduled 11 others. And the Cayman Islands also picked up a few calls from a third cruise line. The U.S. issued a new travel ban on Cuba last week, blocking U.S. cruise operators from calling on that country. Mr. Wood says there is not that significant of a change for us as a result of the ban, since some of the lines calling there also called here on the same itinerary. However, he did say the new ones were vessels that mainly called on Cuba and the Bahamas.
Belize reforms its Social Security scheme amid concerns that it's running out of cash, and Barbados looks to revive its manufacturing sector. Marie-Claire Williams has the details in this week's Newsline Business.
The Belize Social Security Board will be implementing reforms from July 1, which will see employers and employees paying a higher contribution. CEO Dr. Colin Young says the reform is necessary as the fund is running out of money. In fact, it is in danger of falling short of this year's budget.
That means that we are at the stage this year that the fund will have to liquidate investments to meet all of its costs. Simply means that we have to go to the cash deposits we have in the bank and say we need $1.6 million by the end of the year for us to meet costs. If we do nothing and continue as business as usual, then next year we'll have to liquidate $13 million in assets.
The planned increase in contributions will be done incrementally over 3 years. The Barbados government is planning to implement a national industrial policy by the end of this financial year. Minister of International Business and Industry Ronald Toppin says it will aim to revive the local manufacturing sector. Speaking at the annual Barbados Manufacturers Exhibition, Toppin said manufacturing has been on the decline for the past decade.
Our objective in all this is to ensure we have a very highly competitive, financially strong manufacturing sector. We can move to boost our domestic exports significantly, create large numbers of employees again in the sector, earn foreign exchange, increase import substitution, as I said before, generate employment, of course put the country's development on a more sustainable footing through our manufacturing sectors, improve performance, and of course to deal with the issue of the issue of the alleviation of poverty.
Marie-Claire Williams, Newsline Business.
Ahead in Newsline Sport, Australia's bowlers hold their nerve in a tense encounter with Pakistan to secure a win as the World Cup continues. We'll be right back.
Welcome to this year's 50th Caribbean Broadcast Union Assembly on the island of San Andres. San Andres is a small archipelago located in between Jamaica and Panama in the western Caribbean Sea. A lush, exotic island rich in culture, history, gastronomy, and breathtaking scenic views. Known for its beaches and 7-colored crystalline waters, the island of San Andres will be proudly hosting this year's event. CBU members will enjoy top-of-the-line accommodations for an unforgettable experience in San Andres, connecting Caribbean nations through this year's 50th edition of the CBU Assembly.
But never ever like this. Mother Nature sent, I'm sure. You must be a special gift.
Who told you to bring back the hair, the clothes, and the heels? I'm not the one. I'll be doing Jet Live.
Defending World Cup champions Australia clawed their way back from the brink of defeat to beat Pakistan by 41 runs as action in the ICC Cricket World Cup continued on Wednesday. The Aussies managed to post a competitive 307 after returning batsman David Warner smashed 107, while captain Aaron Finch chipped in with an 84-ball 82. And this was after losing their last 6 wickets for 30 runs. That was mainly a result of the efforts of fast bowler Mohammad Amir, who picked up career-best figures of 5 for 30 in 10 overs. In reply, Pakistan were well placed at 136 for 2, but they then collapsed to 266. Right-arm fast bowler Patrick James picked up 3 wickets, while Mitchell Starc and Kane Richardson took 2 each.
Through and taken. Is there an inside edge? Australia are convinced. Australia have their 5th. Brilliant catch. All through, gone, edge, given straight away. Asif Ali's short stay at the crease has come to an end. Swung away leg side. Sounded good, is good, all the way for 6. Has he got it? Yes, he has. Another one. Hassan Ali, where have you been? Short, hooked away, high. Khawaja, safely done. The cameo is over. Australia can relax again.
What a strike it is from Waha Riaz. Oh, this is a good strike, I think, is it? Yes! A 6.
There's another 6. He's now got things going. He's got this crowd very excited. So close to an outside edge. Was there a flick?
Yeah, there was a spike there. Right, we need to go back on field here.
Massive moment in the game. Once again. And gets in. That's what Starc can do. And he'll do it when you need him to.
He's gone. It's all over for Pakistan. Maxwell was a fielder, one of the best fielders in world cricket. Glenn Maxwell got the breakthrough. Pakistan 266, all out in 40.
Still in cricket, West Indies will open their campaign in the inaugural ICC World Test Championship when they host India in a 2-match series starting in August. The opening test will be played at Vivian Richards Cricket Ground from August 22nd to 26th, while Sabina Park in Jamaica will be the stage for the second test from August 30th to September 3rd. The 5-week tour will also feature 3 one-day internationals and 3 2020s, the first 2 of which will be played at the Central Broward Regional Park in Fort Lauderdale, United States. The tour opens on U.S. soil on August 3rd with the T20 series, bringing together 2 of the most exciting sides in the game's shortest format in back-to-back encounters. The final T20 is set for August 6th in Guyana, where the opening ODI will also be staged on August 8th. Queen's Park Oval in Trinidad will host the remaining 2 ODIs on August 11th and 14th before the Test series gets underway. To football now, Trinidad and Tobago slumped to a 2-0 defeat to Canada in their final international friendly before kicking off their CONCACAF Gold Cup campaign in 7 days. And head coach Dennis Lawrence said even though he was disappointed with the outcome, there were some encouraging aspects of his side's performance.
With a goalless draw to Japan, followed by a 2-0 defeat to Canada, TNT will now switch their focus to the competition they've been preparing for, the Gold Cup. Coach of the team, Dennis Lawrence, says he has seen all that he needs to see and is putting his energy towards getting the team recovered for the competition.
Most main important thing for us is to recover. I think one of the sore points today for us, which we were very, very concerned about coming back from Japan, was any injuries. Carlisle picked up something slight. I'm hoping it's nothing serious. So it remains recovery. That's the most important thing.
As the team ponders on the challenge ahead, they will be mindful of the fact that they've not scored in their last 5 matches against Thailand, Iran, Wales, Japan and Canada. Lawrence says that the latest 2-0 defeat was a disappointment, but he saw areas of improvement.
Very, very pleased with a lot of the aspects. Obviously disappointed to concede 2 goals, one so early in the game and one late. But in terms of a training exercise for the boys, I thought it was very, very good for us.
He added it gave them time to see different players in different positions.
It gave us the opportunity to try different players, to try players in different positions, because we're still trying to find the right balance. And I was a bit pleased, especially in the second half, the way that we managed the game. We got ourselves in a lot of good attacking situations, but again, we didn't manage to convert.
The only issue he had a problem with was the number of substitutions they were allowed against Canada.
Only allowed to use 6 substitutions because all our planning towards the game, we were planning to give everybody a game. We wanted to play for some people for 45 minutes. We weren't allowed to do that today.
TNT will open their account against Panama on June 18.
Jamaica's Reggae Girls assistant head coach Lauren Donaldson says some adjustments will be made to the squad ahead of their next assignment against the Italians in the ongoing Women's World Cup. In this report by TVJ's Karen Madden, Donaldson explains why the changes are necessary.
Monday's session with members of Sunday's substitute bench gave the technical staff an opportunity to look at some other players as the Reggae Girls maintain their focus of advancing to the round of 16. Despite Sunday's 3-0 defeat to 10th ranked Brazil, there were areas that the coaching staff was pleased with. The team put up a fighting performance to ensure they were not embarrassed, but assistant coach Lauren Donaldson says changes will have to be made to Friday's starting 11.
The girls who didn't play, we just want to get their feet on the ball, get some touches, but we're just working on a few tactical stuff that we still poor at. And after the game yesterday, there will be a few changes, so players have to get ready.
Speaking with TVJ Sports immediately after Sunday's loss, star striker Khadija Bunny Shaw expressed confidence the team could rebound.
I think we need to be more disciplined defensively. We when we're attack, you can see that we potentially can create stuff up top, but I feel like defensively we need to be more compact and disciplined, and once we get that, then we can just push forward.
Coach Donaldson agrees with her.
No, we're fine. I just think, the moment just got to us, and that happened. It's a young team, and it's a learning experience, and then we have to just put that behind us and come out ready to play. We need to get something out of the game, so we have to make some adjustments and some changes, and hopefully, and we will actually defend better because we were very poor yesterday. So, but yeah, see, we're not going to come out the same way. We're going to come out maybe with a different look.
And that's the sport. We'll be right back.
Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
You are watching Caribbean Vibrations TV, and we are coming to you from the beautiful Mahi Island in the Seychelles with the gentleman affectionately known as Creole King of the Islands, Mr. Patrick Victor. How are you doing today, sir?
Feeling great, especially with this thing in my hand.
Oh, well, ironically, that is your claim to fame. For the people who do not know, back a little time ago, you had a song called Tabu Musha, which spoke about 2 different things in those 2 different words.
The other one, what are you doing? This is doing.
Major Lazer doesn't really do authentic Caribbean music, It's a fusion. And I wanted to do the more authentic reggae, one-drop rhythms, some dancehall rhythms, some Spanish songs, things like that. So I've always kind of peppered the market with those things, but now this is my first actual album. I feel really proud of it. The name of the album is A Bang. It drops June 7th.
And that's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sports round the clock, subscribe to CondoNews.com. And for more of our programming, log on to CaribVision.tv and check out our YouTube channel. We'll be back here again tomorrow. But from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and have yourselves a good night.